Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Tristan Rallings, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Officer Cadet Cooper Collishaw. We warmly welcome the family of Private Manus John Kelly, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Manus John Kelly. Manus Kelly was born in 1887 in Geelong, Victoria, one of 9 children born to John and Mary Kelly. Manus grew up in Geelong West and went to a local school. By the time the First World War began, he was working at a bakery with one of his brothers, living at the family home. A tall man, he was noted for his exceptional physique. Kelly enlisted for service in the Australian Imperial Force at Geelong on the 25th of November, 1914. After initial training at Broadmeadows Camp, he was allotted to reinforcements to the 6th Battalion, but was not present when they sailed for Egypt. He was later allotted to reinforcements to the 8th Battalion, and on the 19th of February 1915 embarked from Melbourne aboard the transport ship Runic. Arriving in Egypt in early April, there was no doubt some trepidation and no small amount of pride when the news of the Gallipoli landings reached the men. The 8th Battalion, as part of the 2nd Infantry Brigade, had gone ashore in the second wave. In early May, the 2nd Infantry Brigade was sent to Cape Helles to take part in the Second Battle of Krithia. The 3rd reinforcements were sent to Cape Helles and arrived in the early afternoon of the 8th of May. The men were quickly allotted to their companies. The battle that had begun on the 6th of May had seen numerous costly attacks conducted by British and New Zealand soldiers. With the offensive stalled, a new attack was ordered to commence at 5:30 p.m. on the 8th of May. The 2nd Brigade was given 35 minutes' notice that it was to take part. The men of the 8th Battalion made their way to the front line and their jumping off positions at Tommy's Trench. When the attack commenced, the Australians managed to advance some 500 yards before the weight of the Ottoman fire drove them to ground. In the space of an hour, the 2nd Brigade suffered 1,000 casualties, a third of its strength, leading a number of survivors to describe the attack as sheer murder. Among the soldiers listed as missing after the attack was Manus Kelly. The 8th Battalion was relieved from the front line on the 11th of May and moved back to a reserve position. Around 100 stragglers, including Kelly, returned to the battalion on the 14th of May. The 8th Battalion embarked from Helles in the transport ship Ionian during the morning of the 16th of May and steamed back to Anzac. The battalion disembarked the following morning and went into a reserve position in Rest Gully. On the 18th of May, the battalion came under Ottoman artillery fire, and Kelly was wounded in the abdomen. He was evacuated to the hospital ship Sudan for transfer to Egypt, but his wound was mortal. He died that same day and was buried at sea. He was 28 years old. Today, Kelly's name is commemorated on the Lone Pine Memorial to the Missing at Gallipoli. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Manus John Kelly, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.